This week in Eugene, Oregon, Tate Taylor is about to destroy the 100-meter world. The 18-year-old from San Antonio returns to Hayward Field, the same track where he beat the reigning Olympic champion back in July. But only one sprinter in this field has broken 10 seconds this season, and he is not American. Let's start with what actually happened at the Prefontaine Classic, because that afternoon is the reason his name is everywhere this week. Taylor was making his Diamond League debut. The field around him in the Oregon sunshine included Lyles Tebogo, the Olympic champion from Botswana. Taylor was still technically a high school student from Texas. The wind gauge read -0.9, which means he was fighting resistance the entire way down the home straight. He won anyway. That 19.75 was far more than a personal best. It made him the first American high school athlete ever to win a Diamond League 200-meter race, and it lifted him to third on the all-time under-20 list, ahead of a young Usain Bolt. Tebogo finished second in 1993. The rest of that professional field was strung out behind a teenager who had been running county meets in Texas 18 months earlier, so the hype around this kid is completely real. But the title of this video says 100 meters, and that is exactly where the story gets complicated. Here is the number that gets repeated on every broadcast. Tate Taylor owns the American under-20 record in the 100 meters at 9.92 seconds. That is genuinely one of the fastest teenage sprints in recorded history. Only Lyles Tebogo has ever run quicker as a teenager, with his 9.91 back in 2022. The detail that gets left out is when Taylor ran it. That 9.92 came in May of 2025. It is more than a year old now. His fastest wind-legal 100 meters this entire season is 10.04. He did run 9.95 back in April, but the wind reading was too strong for the time to count. And in the field arriving at Hayward Field this week, one athlete has broken 10 seconds this year. That athlete is Gary Card of Jamaica, who ran 9.93 at his national championships in June to set a Jamaican under-20 record. So the young American walks into the 100 meters holding the better lifetime record and the slower current form. That gap is the whole story of this championship. To understand why the 9.92 still matters so much, you have to go back to a warm Saturday evening in Austin, Texas. It was May 3rd, 2025. Roughly 10,000 people filled the stands. Taylor was a high school junior at that point, drawn into lane 5, with a personal best of just 10.08 coming into the meet. The wind gauge read +1.1. Then he came back a short while later and won the 200 meters in 20.14, which stood as the fastest sprint double. That season earned him the Gatorade National Boys Track and Field Player of the Year award. It also completely changed what people expected from him. But the road to that evening in Austin was far slower than anyone assumes today. His first competitive 100 meters came in February of 2023. He was a freshman, and he finished 5th in 11.25 seconds. That is a respectable schoolboy time, and absolutely nothing more. 3 years later, he was beating Olympic medalists. The biggest example came this year when Taylor skipped his entire senior high school season in Texas to race professional fields instead. That gamble produced a season that reads like a staircase. He ran 20.05 in April at the Tom Jones Invitational, breaking Noah Lyles' long-standing high school record. He ran 19.97 in June at the Lone Star Grand Prix, becoming the first American high schooler ever to break 20 seconds. He ran 19.94 at the National Under-20 Championships. Then came the 1975 at Prefontaine, 4 races, 4 improvements. In January, he signed with Texas Tech, though he has openly left the professional door open, and after beating Tebogo, plenty of people around the sport now expect him to walk through it. Now let's look at exactly who is standing in his way in Eugene. The most dangerous name is Gary Card. The Jamaican finished 6th in this event at the last World Under-20 Championships in Lima, and he has clearly used the 2 years since to rebuild. Then there is Jake Jordan of Great Britain, who is both Taylor's training partner and a fellow Texas Tech signee. Jordan already owns a 200-meter bronze medal from Lima, and he beat Taylor in the 100-meter final at Nike Outdoor Nationals this June. On the American side, Blake Hamilton has pushed him hardest, and he arrives in Eugene carrying a wind-aided 19.86, from earlier in the Texas season. Dylan Mitchell, who has run a wind-assisted 992 of his own this year, gives the host relay squad serious firepower alongside Kyler Brown. There is also one very large absence. Gout Gout, the Australian who holds the ratified world under 2,200-meter record at 1967, skipped the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow specifically to chase gold here. Then in July, he tore his left hamstring during a training session in Brisbane. The scan showed an 8-centimeter tear-graded 3C, which ended his entire season, so the 200 meters just opened up dramatically. Taylor is entered in the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x100-meter relay. The 100-meter heats and semifinals both run on August 5th, with the final on the 6th. The 200-meter heats and semifinals follow on the 7th, with that final on the 8th. Relay rounds close out the 8th and the 9th. Added up, and he could run as many as 8 races in 5 days, all on the same blue Hayward Field track. Championship racing also punishes anyone who arrives expecting fast times. 2 years ago in Lima, the men's under 2,100-meter title was won in 10.9 seconds. Rounds grind athletes down, lanes are drawn by luck, and reaction time in a final matters more than any season ranking. There is one more layer here, and it explains why so many people care about a junior championship in the first place. Usain Bolt won his first global 200-meter title at the World Junior Championships back in 2002. Noah Lyles came through the same pathway. Hayward Field hosted this exact competition in 2014, then staged the Senior World Championships in 2022. So the stadium has seen plenty of teenagers turn into household names. USA Track and Field has named 89 athletes to compete on home soil this week, including Olympic relay champion Quincy Wilson. Tate Taylor is the face of that entire group, which brings us back to the question in the title. Can Tate Taylor destroy the 100-meter world this week? The honest answer is that he is capable of it, because a man who has legally run 9.92 can beat anybody on the planet under 20. But he has not shown that version of himself in more than a year, and Gary Card has been showing it all summer. The 200 meters is where Taylor should be almost untouchable. The 100 meters is where he has something to prove, in front of a home crowd, on the track where he already beat an Olympic champion. Watch the semifinals closely. If he opens up around 10.0 there, the final becomes very interesting indeed. Which one do you think he wins? Drop your prediction in the comments and stay tuned, because this is only the beginning of Tate Taylor's story.